Welcome everyone to Saturday Evening Chats. This is episode 116. And tonight we have with us the co-host extraordinaire, Mr. DM Foss. Welcome.
Good evening.
In a world of uncertainty and turmoil, one man stands alone, along with his faithful sidekick. A man who entertains and educates the masses weekly, 70% of the time. Born out of the dusty plains of Washington State, now from the coastal forests of Oregon. The man, the myth, the man, G23.
So first in, we had Kingpin, Mr. G Webs, Lee from Ransom and Old Soldier. So welcome everyone. So what did you do for Every Second Matters yesterday?
Yesterday, not much. I went to Costco.
Did you open carry in Costco?
No, I concealed carry in Costco.
So Tactical Fudge has jumped in out there. I went to a place called the Jelly Donut, which was a donut shop, and there was no jelly donuts.
What?
Yeah, you would think their name is Jelly Donut. You
Did they run out?
I'm hoping that they did, and it's not just one of those ones where it's we're gonna say we do jelly donuts, but we don't. But it was. I tell you one thing. They have monster donuts. I mean, these things were monstrous. Mr. Brookloader 2's out there. I know yesterday, Jaeger's channel put out that he passed away and doesn't want anything done for it. They're going to do like a party, I think, next weekend. All the information's over on Jaeger's page. So, if nothing else, you could go say something or not. No obituaries that's being done or anything. He didn't want any of that bullshit. So, I think I'm going to stick with his wishes and just, hey, that's what he wanted. So, that is how he will get it. So Daniel got his my judges out there. Keith Gregory, Mike White. Welcome everyone. I know James Yeager. So G-Web says for him, he says, I for one prefer slow salami, not fast salami.
Well, he also called me fat salami.
Well, I guess I don't know how you'd want to deal with that. So we got Reloader 762s out there. Yeah, absolutely, Mike. I can't really say if I was a fan or not a fan. I didn't really pay him much attention.
I didn't either. I've never seen any of his videos. I know who he is. and I've heard what other people have said about him, but I've never met him, never talked to him. So it's still my condolences to his family.
Yep. Mrs. Hotshot's out there, and Mike is out there. Yeah, I know some people who I respect their opinion, like Budget Guns and Gear and a couple others. I think it was C4 Defense. Have taken one of his classes. So, they would know a lot more. I think I've seen maybe one or two of his videos, and just, I don't know, I just didn't have that, click or whatever, where you're like, hey, yeah, I want to see more. So it is what it is. Yeah, so I was harassing Jamie last night on Georgia Shooting Connection, and I asked him if he was ready for the Oregon Ducks and the former Georgia Bulldog coach to beat him, and Georgia is just whooping that ass. So, congrats, Jamie. I know the game's not over yet, but time-wise, now the game was over in the first half. Truly, anymore it's just an ass whooping. So, again, congrats on beating your former coach, and I mean, we all know that there's just added emotions when you're playing your former coach or whatever when you're playing sports. So again, yeah, the defending champs definitely have come out looking like exactly that they're defending champions, and they came back ready to go. So Mike says he's expecting his team to get spanked. So I don't know which one's his team, but you never know. I mean, I bet you the Virginia Tech fans thought that they had that game and they were going to go and beat Old Dominion, and all of a sudden, what happened? Old Dominion upset them.
No, he's a Notre Dame fan.
Yeah, so you got to face Ohio. So think of this, Mike. Last year, the Ducks beat Ohio in Ohio, so there's always a chance. I mean, there's definitely always a chance. Yes, Daniel. Georgia definitely ran out of bubble gum. I mean, I think the last time I looked, it was like 35-3 or something. So, Mr. M. Gabriel's out there, and I do believe I said hello to Mrs. Hotshot, but if not, hello again. I do have a video from Mr. Hotshot reloading from the hot pot, where I got an awesome challenge coin, and I am very thankful for that. So If you guys are not subscribed to his channel, I would say definitely go check it out. And Mrs. Hot Pot has, or Mrs. Hot Shot has a channel too, so y'all should check that one out. I know she uploaded one video. It was a tractor pull video, and she marked it made for kids, so you cannot leave a damn comment. Remember, if you mark that little box that says made for kid, or you don't unmark that box made for kid, no one can comment on your videos. So sometimes Notre Dame just overlooks their opponent, thinking that they're way better than they truly are. So any team can be beaten on any given day. It's all right. I think I had a video that I accidentally did that too, so I just went back into the YouTube studio and then just went in and edited and unchecked that box, so you can get double the views. Exactly. You're trying, and that's all that we can just appreciate all the great videos that you have done. So you have anything, Mr. Foss?
No.
So I was watching Gizzard Gary's show last night, and he shared a new Ruger rifle that's coming out. It's the LC carbine, and it actually looks pretty nice. I mean, left side charging, left side controls. Not sure if it's ambi or anything. Haven't looked. It's in the 5.7 by 28 caliber. So in your free state models, you get 20 capacity, half-inch by 28 thread pattern, folding, adjustable lengths of pull, and the MSRP is $979. In your
doesn't do anything for me.
No?
No.
If it was in a different caliber, like 7.62 or 308, something like anything but 5.56, I think.
Well, then it wouldn't be a PCC.
Well, this is just a carbine. It doesn't say that it's PCC.
Yeah. But it kind of is.
But wasn't the 5.7 by 28 first a rifle cartridge that then they made into a pistol?
Well, not really, because the God, now I can't think of the stupid. It's got the long mags where it goes in and then twists around when it drops in. What the hell is that one? P90. Thank you, Baron.
So there is a poll. There is a poll out there if anyone wants to vote on it. It says, will 80% frames and receivers return as they were before the ATF change? And so far, 42% say yes. 17% says hell no. And come on, man, are tied. So we will let this keep rolling for a little bit and see if any of that numbers change. So I think PCCs have a place. Your pistol caliber carbines.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not saying that they should not exist. They just don't interest me. I've never shot one, so that could change if I ever shot one. But
I think a good PCC is anything not chambered in 9mm. So Baron says his 458 SOCON barrel showed up today.
sweet.
And Gene's out in the crowd, gracing us with his presence. Welcome, Reloading. I know you guys are probably getting ready for that Ohio game. Or has that started yet? I don't know. We've got Jet 001s out there. I know. What's going on, Andy? I know we had a ruling which should kind of help with what the poll is.
The EPA ruling.
The EPA ruling does come into effect on this. So Fort Worth, Texas, September 2nd. Today, Firearms Policy Coalition secured a partial victory in Vanderstock v. Garland in the form of a partial and limited injunction in its lawsuit challenging the ATF's rule that would create new terms and enact a slew of regulations for the agency to enforce. The opinion can be viewed at fpclegal.org. I'm just going to kind of go over the highlights of it. The final rule's redefinition of frame and receiver conflicts with the statute's plain meaning, wrote Federal District Court Judge Reed O'Connor in his order. The definition of a firearm in the Gun Control Act does not cover all firearm parts. It covers specifically the frame or receiver of any such weapon that Congress defined as firearm 18 USC 921 A3B, which may become a receiver is not itself a receiver. Specifically, today's ruling finds that the plaintiffs are likely to succeed in their challenge to the ATF frame or receiver rule, grants a preliminary a preliminary injunction as to plaintiff tactical machining. So it's only going to help them at this point in time, but does not grant a preliminary injunction in regards to tactical machining's customers, other manufacturers or retailers, or any other individuals interested in buying the affected products, and gives the plaintiffs an opportunity to submit further briefing and evidence on the scope of the injunction by September 8th, with a response from the government due 7 days later. So, sometime about mid-September, all this should start rolling through. This is an important initial victory, but we have much more work to do in this case, said FPC's senior attorney for constitutional litigation, Cody Wisniewski. And if I butchered his name, it's just that. We look forward to presenting the court with additional arguments and moving this case towards a full decision, recognizing the deep flaws with the agency's rules as soon as possible. So do you have anything?
Yeah, I think they will win it. And hopefully there's other people that'll join in to help broaden that a little bit, to make it even more of a kick in the nuts to the ATF.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is if every one of the 80% companies would have joined in on this, they could have shown, because you look at how many of the 80% frame and receiver companies folded up within a month of this ruling happening, not even waiting to the very last day. But, so that's all loss, Every day that they weren't selling and they weren't making stuff is lost revenue. So they could show that they were truly hurt based upon this ruling. So I see Krabby Turtle jumped in to say have a great show. He's probably over on the wrestling show. Lady Wolverine is out there. Welcome. So right now, a lot of the 2A companies are, I guess, if you want to, advocate organizations, FPC, GOA, SAF, are dumping a lot of money into 2A cases, trying to stack these wins, and getting us more and more victories. And, I heard they were saying they could, if they had more funding and stuff, they'd be able to go after and win, like the magazine capacity cases. Yeah, they've got some already going. And again, fighting in the district courts and Supreme Court costs a lot of money. And that's what the antis are loving, is because not only do they have, billionaires throwing money at them, the states that are being sued are just using taxpayer money to fight the case. So they're using your money that you're paying in taxes against you. And then they're going to say, hey, we need more tax revenue, so they're going to tax you even more. Yep, I can get that. So yeah, the pistol brace they've kind of pushed off until December because they're trying to get the ATF's trying to get even more money from the government so that they can, figure out how they can keep the website from crashing when these 4 million new $200 tax stamps come flowing through. And there's a lot of people that are thinking, oh, yeah, hey, cool, I'm going to get a free $200 tax stamp. So, the one thing is nothing's free. Now, if you ever decide you want to sell that thing, there's a hell of a lot of hoops that's going to be jumping through. So, it's not like with a suppressor where you're getting that tax stamp on the suppressor. Okay, so there's no serial number on a single brace or on a single stock. So you cannot Form 1 that or, SBR it, and be like, okay, well, I'll take this device off and then I can just sell, the pistol or the rifle, but I still have the taxed item, the registered item. That registered item is that serialized receiver. So at that point, when you go to sell that, there's going to be a lot more hoops that are going to have to be jumped through to be able to go and sell that. If you want to take that firearm with you on vacation, you better plan like 6 months ahead of time on your vacation, because you're going to have to ask the government for permission to be able to take that across state lines. And you better know if you can take that NFA item into that other state that you're planning on going and visiting. So, well, so like Byron says, strip the SBR lower and destroy it. Is the easy way? No, because you're going to have to be able to prove to the federal government that that was destroyed properly. So, yeah, you could take off the upper, you can take off everything else and sell it like piece by piece, I guess, and keep the receiver. You have any thoughts on the brace and receiver issue that's possibly facing us in December?
I know that's what I'm kind of waiting to see what's gonna happen with that one. I think that's also another one that they will lose with a good challenge, and that I've gone back and forth on doing an SBR or pistol, and the only thing that really stopped me from going with an SBR is the hassle that you just talked about. Um, Having to deal with the extra steps to do anything with it. Yeah, I'll think, oh well, it's not that big a deal, and then half an hour later, it's like, ah, God, that's so much garbage.
Yeah,
So I'm,
especially if you think about you're going to leave any of your firearms to family members.
yeah,
Yeah, you might want to look into what happens if you have a NFA item and transferring that to a family member.
and Woods is asking how long before they come after shockwaves.
If they win their frame and receiver case, if they win their pistol brace, because the pistol brace is already in court, I believe it's in the 4th. If they win both of those, which I don't see how they could win based on Bruin alone.
Well, the EPA case is the big one because that kills Chevron deference, and that's the whole guise that they were using to make these rulings. To change the way that the definitions, and by the EPA case says that they do not have Chevron deference. They cannot do it that way. They cannot, if it's codified in law, they cannot interpret it differently than that law.
Yep, and that's what that Texas judge in his ruling. I mean, if I would have went and pulled up all the whole legal part of it, which guns and gadgets went into, way better. He mentioned that, yeah, the Virginia EPA was noted in that case that, hey, they've already ruled that the EPA stepped out of bounds by trying to interpret everything the way they wanted to interpret it and change rules based on how they wanted to interpret it. And that's not, you don't have that legal power. If Congress wanted to, based on the way when they did frames and receivers, because in that frame and receiver, when it came from Congress, they even had the forethought to put starter pistols in there. So if they wanted it to be ruled on parts and everything else like that, and possibly homemade firearms, they would have then said that, because they used some of that wording in other areas, but not to restrict them. So that's why the judge partially granted a stay or an injunction on that case. So I threw the link out if anyone wants to join on. I know the nice thing is we don't have to let you on if we don't know who you are. So I see Smeggy 42's out there.
Hey, you said it right for once.
Oh, wait till you see the video I have that I gotta finish editing and throw it out there. I think I say his name like 10 different times in 10 different ways. He knows that what I'm meaning. G-Web says, slowest salami ever. So I am going to check on the poll and see. Right now we're at 37%. Oh, 35% say yes. 25 say no. 15% say hell no. And 25% say come on, man. So we shall Smeggy says, you have a video about me? That's scary. Yep. Yes, it is. You know, I did forget one part in that video. I forgot to say how you can stick a pencil in it. Huh. Damn it. Oh well. I don't know. I don't see that any of the braces are going to change. Because hopefully it's going to be decided in the courts before it ever becomes a chance of actually taking law. So as long as the AFT doesn't decide to go ahead and say, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and enact it now, and we'll give a grace period until X date. So I do believe the actual bump stock case is sitting in front of SCOTUS, and it will be going and being heard when they go back into session. Craig's out there, Georgia trapping and fishing on Sundays. I think he's starting his time at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern Metric time. So check out his live stream. It's always fun. It's always entertaining. And there's always a lot of great people in the side chat. So Oh, I gotta grab some water before I go into a coughing attack. So, Foss,
Yes, sir.
if there was one YouTuber or two-way person that you could meet in person and spend the day with, like shooting at the range, going to dinner with, or whatever, who would it be and why?
Oh, God, I don't know. Some gun bunny? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's lots of guys that, like Gizzard Gary, guys like that. I'd love to meet, in person, hang out with. I don't know if there's any one guy that I would say I'm dying to meet. That's I don't think I can give a good answer on that one. Yeah. How about you?
Well, so Miss Vanessa Kitty says Georgia trapping, so I could buy his furs in person. You know, Craig would be a great guy to hang out with. So much vast knowledge about multiple different topics. So, I would probably pick like either Reloading from the Hot Pot or Chris from the 740 for the fact that if I picked one of those guys, I'm almost guaranteeing that I'm going to get to meet the other one also. Plus, if I pick Gene, I get to meet his wife at the same time, and it's going to be all fun being at the range shooting with everybody. So you get like Jason Stewart that's probably going to be there. So it's more of a package deal if you pick one of the Ohio boys.
Woods says Charlie Cook. And Smaggy said Tony, because he feels like they get along. They've met a lot of people already, so I'm not counting on them. So I'm guessing he means Tony Simon.
I could see hanging out with Tony Simon. He would be fun. I really would like to take a Masad Ayub class, and that's going to happen. There's just a few things that I got to get taken care of first before that can happen. I missed getting to go take his class in Washington in July, but Reloading from the Hot Pot says there's a bunch of us close together. Yep, Daniel got as my judge is one of those guys. The crazy Scotsman or the Scottish American, whichever you want to call him, is there. So yeah, there'd be a possibility you could, by picking one of the Ohio boys, you could meet like 10.
I'll say Kingpin. He was kind of there and around when I first started. He was always been supportive. Would love to be able to meet him, hang out with him in person. Yeah, don't know if I'll ever get the chance.
Hell yeah, Kingpin would be a great guy to hang out with. If it wasn't for Kingpin and Seven Wonders, Kingpin asking if I wanted to go on his channel and do a live stream with him and Seven Wonders and a few other channels, but we could never get all the timing and scheduling done. So then I ended up just reaching out to Kingpin and Seven Wonders, and that's when I did my very first. So those guys were amazing. And yeah, very, very supportive, and have always had very kind words to say. And they help out so many channels. Kingpin is almost on everybody's channel. You never know where you're gonna get a Kingpin sighting. PNW Wood says he wants to change to knives because he helped him. So, yeah. Vanessa says Smeggy and his doggies. Yep. So Uncle John's out there. Yeah, but going to like GRPC or to Tulsa to Wanamaker, a lot of that is you're going there for a purpose. I'm talking about you're gonna go meet this person and hang out with that person. Like go to the gun range, or go hang out and eat dinner with, maybe both, and just spend the day. It's not like you're going there to do videos based on something else, and you get to meet like Gizzard Gary because hey, he's also going to be at Tulsa, or get to meet Clovertack because hey, he's going to be at Tulsa. After you guys do your daytime stuff, yeah, there's always going to dinner and hanging out because a lot of the gun channel people do that kind of stuff when they get together at SHOT Show or GRPC or Tulsa. As they get down to some of your other hangouts, the NRA show, stuff like that. So that you're kind of going there for a specific reason, and then you try to make time to go hang out with everyone after the show. So you may only get a half hour.
Wanamaker is I would love to go to see it, but I don't want to go because I'm going to be sad because I can't buy anything.
You could buy stuff.
No, I can't afford to buy anything.
Well, you never know. You could end up finding something that could be in the price range. You never know what could you could find a rifle that might be in the couple $100 range that you decide, hey, I need to take this home with me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like it's same reason I don't look at hot rod magazines. It makes me sad.
So in that case, you definitely don't want to come down to my town, because there's like you're out and about and you just see all these classic cars, trucks, and it's just like, damn, you know, you never get used to like how many of them there are, and there's always, it seems like, new ones showing up.
Yeah, the town over there used to be a shop that rebuilt Dodges, the Mopars. So I'd see them down there all the time, and I love Mopars. I had them. I've had Mopars, and it's exciting to see them, and then I get sad.
I had a 69 Dodge A100 custom truck pickup with factory AC.
I had a 68 Plymouth Satellite with factory AC, which didn't work. 69 Dart had a 70, was it 72 Satellite. Had a 78 Power Wagon. A 1980 LeBaron. Had a 78 LeBaron. Yeah, I'm getting sad. I love that Satellite. I loved that Satellite. It kills me. I don't have it.
Yeah, I miss my pickup because that truck was fun as hell. Had a 318 wide block with a pre-LA make, so it was sitting up nice and high. You had enough room that even a big guy like me had plenty of room to crawl underneath the hood, and I mean actually crawl under the hood.
That's the way the Power Wagon was. I would sit on the fenders and then put my feet in on the rails on the frame when I worked on it.
Yep, you could get in there, do the work on there, and everything was easy and accessible. You didn't have to worry about, okay, I'm going to bust a knuckle trying to change my air filter. So David Wilcott says, what shotgun do people love and why? So, Mr. Foss?
I've only ever shot one shotgun, and it's the one I own, which is Maverick 88 Security 80, whatever you say that. It's the only shotgun I've ever shot. So I guess it's the Security Maverick 88.
So I have shot multiple different shotguns, but the one I love is the one I do own, which is the Caltech KSG. I mean, 12+1 on 3-inch shells, 14+1 on 2 3/4, or 24+1 on minis. And it's a bullpup. So, great little fun gun. And I'll make sure I bring it up the next time I come up there. So reloading from the Hot Pot says, I love my VR 80 19+1. Well, yeah, when you get into semi-autos, but then you can always get feeding issues. So we have Miss Ting Ting back in the house. So welcome. G-Whip says any shotgun that fires 2 blasts will get the job done according to my research. So G-Web says, question, why is Fast Salami's video so slow?
That's all right. I switched to one that's even slower.
So he said, David Wilcott says, I would like the Ithaca because it looks awesome and possibly less likely to jam, but I don't know much about it. I have 0 experience with it, so I can't give you any reliability advice on it. Reloading from the Hot Pot, Mr. Gene says Mossberg JM 940 was great. Was a great one. I had Miss Vanessa Kitty. I think she said she had a Mossberg. PNW says the Mossy 835 is a solid choice. Kevin June says Mossberg 940. So yeah, it looks like a lot of people like the Mossbergs. I mean, they are tried and true. So there's a lot of accessories out there, so you can make them as tactical or non-tactical as you want. Proven reliability. So it'd be really hard to say don't go with a Mossberg. So
I would like to someday have a nice over-under, but if I ever do, I mean, it'll be years before I ever get one.
well, yeah. Now, are you talking nice as in
Not
looks?
that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking, $2,000 nice. More affordable nice. Just something that looks kind of nice. Probably will never shoot skeet or anything like that with it, but
So something like a over under 410 22 or something like that, which is a little more of the affordable side and not a over under 12 gauge 410 or 12 gauge.
no, it'll probably just be a 12 gauge.
Because I know some of those over unders, you're talking that can get up into like $25,000-$30,000 range.
Yeah. But I mean, there are more affordable models that look nice. They're not, not as nice, but just when you look at it from a distance, it looks pleasant.
So PNW says that his Stoger over under are fun. He has the 20 and 12 gauge. So, Miss Vanessa Kitty, you'd be surprised at what some people will pay for a knife. That $2,000 knife isn't the most expensive. There's probably some knives out there that would possibly surprise you on what they're going for. So, if you had the extra money, would you spend $2,000 on a knife?
On a knife? No, probably not.
See, if I had the extra like $2,000 to spend on a knife, I've probably already bought a lot of the firearms that I want, and I definitely would have already had my own private range before I'd have the extra $2,000 to go spending on a knife. So in that point, I would probably say, yeah, I would spend $2,000 on a knife. So, not sure who HKF is.
Hong Kong Fooey.
So, if you don't say anything in the private chat and I don't know who you are, I'm not letting you on. So, Mr. Patriot is out there, a guy who he has a great channel. Definitely somebody I would say go watch and hang out and leave comments, because he has a wealth of knowledge on videos, and you can actually close your eyes listening to his video and still be able to picture the firearm and know what he's talking about. So, yep. Miss Vanessa Kitty says, extra money is the stuff that you find in a huge bundle on Florida beaches. So, do you know who it is, Mr. Foss?
No.
Okay. I think I might know who it is. Not 100% sure. It might be the Baron.
Well, I had a guess, but when he changed that, I don't think it's who I thought it was. Oh,
Oh man. What do you now? Well, let me flip back over. All right, well, let's put it back. I was going to try to see if anybody could figure out who Hong Kong Fooey was.
yeah, someone did.
So that they see what we're talking about here. I did this on the way in, and then I was like, gonna be able to make it a thing, and then got spoiled. I got We had a spoiler.
Yes. See, watching like Gizzard Gary and Black Cat Outdoors and being on the panel when it happened to Carolina EDC, even though I was on my cell phone, so I had opened up the chat, so I didn't actually get to see. I didn't get to see what Moo saw, the angry one-eyed monster looking at him. There's sometimes you just gotta wonder, throwing your link out is always a very ballsy thing to do, especially if you just automatically put people on there you don't know. You know
Oh
what
no,
I'm saying?
it's not practice. It's not wise. So you know who this is? G23.
Hong Kong Phooey?
Yeah.
Yes. Cartoon back in the late 70s, early 80s.
How do you make it big like that? You're using a screen thing to substitute a camera?
Yeah, I'm running
Okay.
OBS.
So if you use OBS, you can effectively say, hey, StreamYard, here's my webcam. But instead of giving it an actual camera feed or whatever, like access to a hardware camera, you give it an emulated camera that's offering whatever you tell your software to offer it. In this case, is this an old GIF or something?
Well, it's I made them. I've got that one.
It's just you made a slideshow.
You kind of, got some Danger Mouse ones. I've got camera, which isn't working right now, but yeah, just something. You're torturing your cat?
One cat is being argumentative with the other cat.
I feel like if you're rolling over and a cat doesn't get out of the way, that's not the fault of the person rolling over.
Yeah, we have one kitty. We call her Icy. She's crazy as hell. And then we've got another one, Maggie, which is like a 20-pound cat, which could easily like whoop the crap out of the other one, who's like 8 pounds. But she's like this little, oh, I'm a princess. I can't get my nails wet. So who knows what is on there now? It's a Japanese cartoon.
I can't make it bigger like that because I don't have that on. I got rid of my OBS. My OBS was, I think, $50 a year. I got sick of paying for it because I wasn't really using it.
I got the free one.
Oh, really? What are you talking about here?
Just downloaded the free OBS.
That's what it's called, free OBS.
Just OBS.
Come on, man.
PNW Wood says Star Blazers.
Well, yeah, mine, but
That's him. We're
G-Webs.
talking about this one with the.
I've seen the image. I've seen the image, but I don't know the name of it.
I want to say it's like Shogun.
No, Shogun. Come on, man.
Wasn't it like a Japanese cartoon back in the early 80s?
I mean, I don't remember a Shogun cartoon. Wait a minute. I think Shogun was more like Godzilla, whatever you call people in costumes. Oh, I can only have 10 of these? Hold on, I gotta kill one.
Well,
Sorry,
there was a miniseries Shogun based on a book.
That was a regular TV show, though, with people.
Yeah.
It was like drama about samurais. Or no, some
Yeah.
guy who was acting like a samurai.
Yeah.
All right, try this one. I'm trying to include the gun because the gun is kind of part of this whole thing. And this thing makes it into a circle, so that's even tougher. Definitely got his ear. That's helpful. This is a modern version of it. I guess it's one of the longest running. I didn't realize that. My experience with the dude is from back in the day.
Ting Ting says Speed Racer.
No.
They never got guns in Speed Racer. Come on, man.
Or maybe she says Uncle John. That's it. Speed Racer. I don't know.
Speed Racer is pretty awesome, though. I really liked Speed Racer back in the day. They were talking about days when Saturdays meant cartoons. I don't remember when Speed Racer was on, but it's always like stoked.
I've got a Mach 1 that's about 5-6 inches long. It's got all the stuff on it.
Oh, like all the gadgets and stuff, like the drone and everything, the saw blades and all that. Yeah, that's sweet. I had the Matchbox, and I was stoked to have the Matchbox. I would lose it all the time.
And I've got a reissue of the #1 comic book, Speed Racer.
When did that come out? What years?
It was like 80s.
Oh, really? I figured it was from like the 60s or something.
Well, it's like I said, it's a reissue, so it's not the original.
Oh no, I mean, when did Speed Racer? When did that come out?
Oh, I don't know when it originally did.
60s?
Well, the cartoon, yeah.
So, I think I don't know what PNW was talking about, but he said Battleship Yamamoto.
That's mine. That's Star Blazers. The original Japanese anime is Starship. God, now I can't remember the second name. Space Battleship Yamato is the original anime name. And then when they brought it to America, they changed it to Star Blazers.
So, the only anime that I ever really knew about was definitely kind of cartoonish, but it was kind of crazy cartoonish. So we got MCK out in the crowd. What's going on, Mock? So David Wilcott says, is there any pistol/revolver cartridge bigger than 500 Smith & Wesson? You want to take that one, G-Webs?
Okay, now I got the live action version, which is the one I remember. It was also a comic, and then it was a cartoon or anime or whatever they're called now. But when I remember watching this was VHS tapes with this guy, who's like normally in samurai movies and stuff. This was his movie with ARs, and that you can't hardly see it here, but it's an iconic AR-15, 1973. So, what was the question about? The real question?
It says, is there any pistol/revolver cartridge bigger than Smith & Wesson 500?
There has to be. There's always something bigger.
Well, what about the 460 Roland?
It depends on what you call bigger, right? So 50 or 500 Smith & Wesson is pretty long and pretty wide. But if you call bigger like what numbers, like, speed or energy or something like that, there could be bigger and a smaller diameter, right? But I think they're not really 50, are they? No. So I don't think there's anything stopping them. Maybe if they get too much bigger, then I don't know. Maybe it's more of just the fact they're not making ammo for it.
Oh, so it is Golgo 13.
Yes. Did you already say that?
No, that's the first thing I thought. but I wasn't sure because I've never seen the anime. I've played the video game.
Oh, there was a video game? That would be wild.
Yeah,
So-
it was like I can't remember if it was PlayStation or Nintendo or which.
So to answer that guy's question, there is a revolver that puts out, I think it's a 700 nitro.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's
it's
not
the-
it's not a pistol cartridge though.
Oh, is that the question, pistol? Well,
That's what I thought he was asking.
He said pistol or
revolver.
revolver.
That's true, because you can get bigger block, some kind of giant block of steel where you just drill a hole in it. You can make it as big as you want, as long as it's not half an inch, I guess. But those 50 cals aren't half an inch, are they? They're nowhere near as big as a 50. Wait, are they? I never actually put them next to each other. Are 50 Smith & Wesson's 50 the same as 50 BMG, same diameter?
I thought they were.
Oh, well, then they can't get bigger than that, technically. All they can do is put more oomph in the slug.
So you've got the 700 nitro right there. That is one nasty revolver.
I could see 600 nitros, but 700 seems like too many nitros. I think I remember that picture there.
Oh, that one's
'cause
a
I've seen
600
that a bunch
nitro.
of times. I've seen that picture a bunch of times. That's probably for dragging up a hill and shooting to the other side of another hill. Or silhouettes. I
No,
guess.
that's more for taking to the range and spooging. Every time you fire it.
Does that mean spend $20 every time you pull the trigger?
I think a 700 nitro round is $110 a round.
Ouch. See, I'd reload and do that for $97.
So Reloader 762 says 500 Lion Bot is slightly larger in diameter, but has a slower MV with equivalent weight bullet. So P&W Wood says shooting the 700 nitro seems like instant regret / you hate your hand.
Yeah, it's a big gun, but that's a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Have you never seen Golgo 13?
No.
I guess there's all kinds of versions of it, but he's basically like James Bond mixed with a Rambo, I guess. Because he wears a suit and he kind of goes around and kind of quickly all the time. He doesn't waste a lot of time making decisions. He just makes the decisions and people die pretty quick.
I'll have to see if I can find the live action.
Oh yeah, I should go look over if they got it at the private movie theater or not.
So Mr. Mario, the mechanic Molina, says, I'll shoot anything. Let's go. I'm not scared. So David Walcott says, holy moly, 700 nitro. Goodbye wrist.
Wrist, shoulder, and forehead when it hits you.
So to answer your question, yes, there is something larger than the 500 Smith & Wesson.
I really want a 454 Casull.
Yeah. Or what about the new, what's it, 4570 Governor or government revolver?
No, I would probably.
You mean Smith & Wesson governor?
No, it's a
I
4570 government round out of a revolver.
Well, now you pissed him off. He left. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would if I was going to spend that much. I would probably get the 350 Legend one.
Who makes the 4570? I clicked the wrong fucking button.
It is Smith & Wesson Performance Center on the
Yeah.
X frame. I believe.
I feel like in order to make up for the Hillary hole and whatever other abuses they may have done to our nature, then they could supply us each with a Smith & Wesson of our choice, whatever caliber.
Sounds
I-
fair.
Sounds extremely fair to me.
If they gave me I don't know. I could be bought off about the Hillary hole. Let's just put that.
So I understand why they did it, because they didn't have the balls to stand up, and now what they have done lately, standing up and putting out that letter is like, I'm glad they did, but also it's like, well, it's kind of a little too late. You've already caved to pressures before. Just because you put out a piece of paper, does it mean that you're not going to cave to pressures again?
Yeah, you don't got to give them a pass or nothing, but I don't think you got to hold it against them forever. But at the same time, you can be sus, right? Like,
Yeah.
what they're doing, like what this guy's doing. Like this, I'm looking at Smith & Wesson right now.
Like, I would still buy a Smith & Wesson. Definitely I would not buy a M&P, but I would buy some of their revolvers and some of their other firearms. Now, with somebody like Springfield, no, I wouldn't, because they haven't done anything to even attempt to right a wrong that they did. In my opinion, I don't know what anyone else says, but so PNW says, who owns Smith & Wesson now?
They got a president. It's a board of directors. It's a corp, right?
Yeah, I think it's a corporation.
I think anybody who wants to own stock in it, probably Nancy Pelosi.
So I was looking at a Smith & Wesson Thursday or Friday.
Does it bother anybody if I smoke in here?
Nope. So I was gonna buy it. I was really contemplating buying it, and I had it in my hand. I was looking at it at the gun shop, but the cylinder kept hitting the forcing cone and getting locked up, and so you'd really have to muscle to pop that cylinder out, and you could see that the arm was scratching into the frame, and that the cylinder was being kind of marked up by the forcing cone. And so I let the LGS know that they needed to send that one back to have it fixed.
Well, it's just the X-Force model. It's got extra forcing.
Yeah, and until it locks up, and you're screwed because they don't want you to send a firearm to them that has live ammo in it. So Mrs. Hotshot says, "Ah, what an adorable dog, Smeggy."
Yeah, everyone loves my dog.
And everyone comments on your dog toy.
No comment. He likes it. It's not my fault.
So, not to give away the entire video, but in the video that I'll be releasing probably tomorrow, there was a Smegsy doll in there, and I forgot to say that you could insert the pencil into one of these holes.
Oh yeah, I forgot I had a hole going through it. I forgot what I was doing with it when I was making it.
I don't know if I like that.
Here, you know what? You could shove a straw through there. Did I ever give you a Smeggy voodoo doll?
You did not.
Oh snap! I guess a whole bunch of people have them. There's
Yeah,
a
I've
hole
got a
going through
Smeggy
it.
somewhere.
There's a hole going through it, and now that I think about it, this is genius because it's basically a hole going from his feet up through his head. No big deal. It's a little bit painful for him, but for us, we jam a straw through there, and then it's like whatever we're drinking goes through a snowman, cleanly, in a hygienic way. But we get the heat transfer from that snowman, and it chills our drink. We don't even need ice anymore. Just have a little Smeggy doll on there.
Yep.
That's brilliant. I'm going to take those things and fill them with a thermo gel. Oh no,
Yeah, I've
that's
got a
old-
Gen 1 Smeggy.
Yeah, that's the old-fashioned
What?
official Smeggy. You don't have one of those either?
No.
Oh,
I think I
snap.
got-
that one has a bendy arms. Those are real bendy arms made out of sharp metal. Like if you were to swallow that, it would probably kill you. I'm almost positive it would kill you. Don't swallow it.
I think I have like 2 Smeggy now.
I was
What
giving those
the-
away like
oh my
popcorn.
God.
I had handfuls of those. I was able to make those in a process that was easily duplicatable. Oh, I thought I sent you a bunch of those. I don't keep
No.
track of these things. I think I might have more. If I have more, I'll send you some.
Okay, that'd be cool. I have a Mr. Knives. That's my only Gun Channels action figure that I have.
So, Mr. David Walcott says, "What is the point of the 300 blackout? Is it supposed to match the 7.62 by 39 and use the AR-15 mags?"
It was designed to be wicked fun, and it is.
It's like, wasn't it designed like? Isn't it like really good for suppress? Because it still has
Yes,
decent
it
power,
is.
like even though it's subsonic.
It absolutely is.
I feel like
And
they
it works with shorter barrels.
So
I
this
feel
is
like they looked at the
7.62.
market. They looked at the marketplace and the cost of goods and everything, and they said buying the box of a regular caliber was just enough, just a little bit too much. But if you got whatever the caliber we're talking about here, 300 blackout, I guess that if they charge just a little bit less, then the kids could buy it and still have money left over for their hair bun ties.
That could be a thing.
Because it's a trendy hipster caliber.
So, like Foss was saying that it works out of shorter barrels. But if you actually look at some of the ballistic tests and everything, the 7.62 going from a 20-inch barrel down to like an 8-inch barrel, it only loses, I think it's like 37 feet per second overall. So you're talking a round that's been around and been proven for quite a long time, and you can suppress it.
Well, you can suppress any round.
I don't know if you can suppress that 700 nitro.
They suppress. There's a suppressor for tanks, so you can suppress a 700 nitro.
I guess there's a possibility.
And say it might not be as effective, right? Because like basically anything that supersonic, even if you had some kind of like, I don't know, magic suppressor that completely eliminated like everything from the gun itself, which that's pretty hard to do. Like if it's supersonic, you're still gonna have like the crack when it breaks the sound barrier or whatever. But for subsonic, the only noise comes from the actual firing itself. And if you can get rid of that with the suppressor, then you can be really quiet.
I'm gonna do this thing now. When I object to a conversation, I'm gonna do this. And when I don't object to a conversation, I'm gonna do this. And then sometimes, if a conversation smells funny, I'm gonna do this.
So, Ting
So you're
Ting
gonna
says. Ting Ting says so. 300 Blackout is a lighter version of a 5.56, like the 7.62 by 39 is to 7.62 by 45. Isn't that?
It's more like a 30 cal in a 5.56 casing. I've got some. I can compare them and show you.
You have a 7.62?
No, I don't have 7.62. I've got 30-06. Well, right here on my bench, I've got 5.56, 30-06, 40 Smith & Wesson, 300 Blackout.
I don't say I know you have 300 Blackout.
Well, I've got some. I mean, literally, I'm holding them right now. I'll show a comparison of the two.
Who's steering this boat when you're looking around for your ammo or whatever?
Whoa!
That would be his. That'd be his co-pilot.
Let me change camera.
I'm worried about oil spills. You're gonna hit an iceberg.
I'm making a phone call.
So here's 5.56. Yeah, that's 300 Blackout.
I feel like that puts too much lead into the environment.
And then you can compare it to, just because it's sitting here, 30-06.
Oh, that one's scary looking. It's so big.
Yes, it is.
What do you need a high-powered military-grade weapon like that?
For killing things.
That's the one that's 5 times faster than other bullets.
Well, this one, the 22, that's what he was talking about.
So, Mrs. Hotshot says that I want a Smeggy. And P&W Wood says, I have a Smeggy somewhere. So, see, a lot of people.
Demand for Smeggies.
Damn, I'm a whore.
You've been passed around a lot.
That's because I have a hole going through my head, apparently.
We're talking about Smeggy action figures, though. We're not talking about the originals.
So Smeggy, you don't want to know where the whole begins and where it ends.
Since you started talking about it, I do remember like seeing when Geops was making them, so I know exactly what it looks like. That's why I'm just mentioning.
I don't remember what I put the hole in there for. I don't know what the hell I was doing, or else I was just done. I was like, all right, I'm done. Maybe I was trying to put the hole in there, maybe to make it stronger. I don't know.
I mean, it'd make a cool pencil topper.
Maybe that's what I was thinking. Or no, you know what? Maybe to put it as like a thing on a lanyard or something. Maybe
reduce weight, make them faster.
That's what I was thinking too. Maybe just so that it would create a support thing through the center. Because I knew I was making it was when I was making playing around with that. I forget what it's called, like the hollow cavity type of print, though, where there's no internal structure at all, and that kind of makes them fragile. Well, can be fragile, I guess.
Wasn't that when you were like making all those pumpkins and stuff too? Around the same
pumpkins were at the beginning of the whole experiment with 3D printing. The Smeggies were way towards the end. And they don't have arms. The ones that I 3D printed don't have arms. I was going to stick a pipe cleaner or something in there, I think.
Well, I'll tell since apparently there's 5,000 owners of the Smeggy doll out there. If you want to be the most authentic and you want to add arms to it, use black zip ties. Because that is what my arms are made out of. In fact, that's what the eyes are too. I
snap. I can put those in there easy.
Yeah, the eyes are like the part you put the zip tie in, like the little square thing. I snipped those off and stuck them in the head. And then the other part I stuck in for arms.
Oh, dude, the next time I print some, I'm going to try to print. I'm going to see if I can't. I don't know if I want to make that, but if I can get a zip tie 3D print, I'll make the eyes out of 3D print. Or I'll make the eyes out of zip tie ends. That'd be cool. I didn't know that. That's a Smeggy trivia no one ever knew before. I don't think did you ever say that before?
I think a couple times, but it's definitely a trivia worthy tidbit. So everyone listening right now, you guys are part of the special club because not many
Plus,
people
barbecue ain't here listening, so that means barbecue at least don't even know. And any number of people might not be listening right now or to have heard that. You could effectively erase it if you wanted to from the recording.
But the people that are listening, that's a cool party trick. You know, next time you're at a party and everyone's like showing you up how smart they are, you can be like, "Oh yeah, well, what's Smeggy's eyes made out of?" Guaranteed to be the most popular person at the party.
So, David Walcott says, is there a such a thing as a wrist-mounted firearm? It's like out of a watch.
There were things wrist mounted that like held firearms. You know, like back in the day, like the old west, like the thing would slide out and have a little damage in it or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's that kind of thing. And there's that glove gun, right? I forget exactly how that works. It's when you kind of like just like make a fist and it'll shoot. And there's a little barrel sticking out over your knuckle. But I don't know about a wrist mounted type thing. Like that fire from the wrist. I only know of things that hold like little derringers that make it easy access.
He says gauntlet or glove. So Smeggy did just say yes, there was a gauntlet out there. So congrats, Jamie, on your Georgia Bulldogs pummeling the shit out of the Oregon Ducks. Sorry, Misha. I tried to say your team was going to win last night, but you guys got your asses handed to you. I'm sorry to say.
The only sport that matters hasn't started yet, so I'm not really worried about it. Once hockey season rolls around, that's when I start caring about sports.
See, I'm not really a big professional sports, college sports. Or like your local, like when I lived in Wenatchee, we had a hockey team. It was called the Wenatchee Wild. And going and watching them play was so much fun.
Oh yeah, the lower level hockey is very fun. Because I mean they just do stuff for like the crowds. There's always like crazy giveaways or like food deals and stuff like that. Trying to get people. I went a few times to the Red Wings affiliate team. It's in Grand Rapids, but like 2-hour drive from Detroit. So it'd be nice if they were like doing on the weekend. You make it kind of like a long weekend drive out there, watch the game, like spend the next couple nights in a hotel or whatever, kind of cruise around. In fact, I don't know if anyone from Michigan is watching. I know there's a few people in our circle But there's a really cool restaurant that's right near the arena where the Grand Rapids Griffins play. I forget what it's called, but in the waiting room, like when you're waiting for a table, they have a bunch of old video games. And like if it's especially airport game, there's always a big dinner rush. So you go in there for dinner before, well, you put your name on the list, and they just hand you a cup with like a bunch of quarters in it or tokens or whatever. So you just play video games for free until your table's ready. And it's walking distance to the arena. It's like right next to it. So anyone from Michigan, if you go watch a hockey game, try and figure out that place. So it's like a burger place. The food was all right, but I cared more about the video games while I was waiting.
Oh, so PNW Wood says, so what pro teams you got in Oregon? Let's see. The Portland Trailblazers. We still have an NBA team. Does Washington?
Go fuck yourself.
Yes, I was a Supersonics fan, but you know, they got the Portland Timbers soccer team. There's not a pro football team. I think they were trying to get one. I don't know. And
well, Oregon is like semi-pro. You know they get paid.
yeah, the Ducks definitely. Well, now they made that rule that college kids can get paid.
Yeah, but they're getting Nike money though.
A lot of schools get Nike money. They get like their uniforms provided.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, because the Ducks alum was the founder, Phil Knight, of Nike.
My girl got offered a job next week to work for Nike. They were going to fly her up and pay for hotels and all that stuff, but she's working down here, so she couldn't take it. I don't know. It's kind of interesting when you're talking about like the pro teams or whatever. I guess I'm spoiled. Like Detroit has all four like major sports all right there in the city. So it's like I just don't think of it like, oh man, there's no pro team like.
Yeah, but the Lions don't count.
In my state, you know, there's some of the states in the middle, they don't have any of them.
Yeah. Well, Seattle has a professional hockey team, professional soccer team, professional baseball team, professional football team. But they don't have a professional baseball team or a basketball team. So, well, they got the females. They do have a female professional basketball. The Seattle Storm.
The Storm have a couple championships.
Yep.
And nobody cares.
Hey,
I was going to say that's like winning an argument on the internet. Good for you.
Uh-oh.
Are they the ones that just had like a parade for their championship and like nobody was there? Like it was literally these like buses driving down the street and there's like nobody on the sidewalk. Like all the people that cared were like on the like floats or buses or whatever. I know it was a WNBA team. I don't know if it was the Seattle one or not.
I don't know. But PNW Wood says soccer. Really, G23? Soccer? Very 9mm.
They are fun. It is fun. I've been to a Sounders game. It is very fun. The crowd participates in different stuff, you know, in the stands. And it was fun, but I took my son. We rode the commuter train just to ride the commuter train. So it was a fun day, and it got really good seats for less than face value.
Yeah, again, that's one of the nice things. Like either going to like some kind of minor league game. I was saying I've been to a handful of hockey ones, but the tickets are cheap. You can get really good seats. One time I was working down in South Carolina, and I just so happened like I met this guy because we were at the bar. I was eating dinner, and they had like a hockey game on, and me and him were the only two like watching the TV, and we kind of like noticed each other watching it. So we started talking. Oh, you like hockey? And he was like, yeah, I'm from Boston or whatever. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm from Detroit. And then he's like, hey, we're gonna go to because in Greenville they have a minor league hockey team. He's like, hey, me and my buddy, we're gonna go to the hockey game like next week. I was like, cool, I'll see you there. Like, I'll go. So we ended up meeting up. Well, right before that, I met this other guy, this old dude, and he heard us talking about going to the game, and he was the goal referee for that team. He's like, I get free tickets like to every home game, but like none of my family or friends ever want to go. So we ended up getting like awesome free tickets from the goal judge just because we were watching TV at the same time and then talking about it out loud, and someone else overheard us. It was a really cool experience.
So P&W Woods is still a little upset about the Sonics will return. Well, even if they return, they can't use the name Sonics. They lost the rights to that.
I thought my anger had subsided because it had been so long, but fuck them. I'm honest to God. Jesus Christ, it pisses me off still. That is true. Since they had, I can't remember how many years to get another team, and then they could keep the history. And because they didn't, they had everything in storage, all the old uniforms and memorabilia crap for the team in storage. And once that time lapsed, they lost everything. This
was a subject brought up by Mr. Wood.
I am fond of Gun Snob, but Oklahoma can go fuck itself. They claim the Sonics history, like it was their team with all the records going to winning a championship and all that, and that's not. No, that happened in Seattle.
Yep, I watched Gary Payton beat Michael Jordan in the Kingdom.
Well, God. Jordan coming back after he probably nobody cares. When he went and tried baseball and wasn't good enough at baseball and came back to the Bulls and they beat the Sonics for the championship.
Yeah, but I watched back. So the Sonics used to have a summer program that they would take to small towns, and you got to meet some of the Sonic players and some of the old Sonics. I got to meet downtown Freddie Brown.
Oh,
I have his autograph. I got to meet Gary Payton and Sean Kemp. And I got tickets to go to a Sonics game because I went and did their basketball camp.
I can say I have played one-on-one with Larry Bird when I was in high school. It was not the Larry Bird. It was a bench player happened to also be named Larry Bird, and he still smoked me. His drop step, he'd post up, and then it'd be one dribble, and he's behind me, and it was still fun.
I got, all the kids that were at the summer basketball camp got to go and play 3-on-3 versus Sean Kemp, downtown Freddie Brown, and Gary Payton, and so you got to, you and two other people got to play a 3-on-3 game against them.
That's cool. He's
they were
now.
They took it easy on you, but you still at least got to go and have some fun with it. That.
Did Peyton trash talk you?
No, Kemp fucking spiked the ball.
I like G-Web's passive aggressive icon change.
Right?
This is like a whole new form of communication. I very much enjoy it. I'm too lazy to change my icon all the time though, so I'll just stick with the dog or my symbol. But
yeah, but see, now they're using OBS, so they don't have to do anything, and it will automatically do it for them.
Oh, I ain't got that free OBS. I was just talking about it. I got rid of my OBS a while ago.
Oh.
Right, I forget what that even stands for. Object. I don't know what it is.
Open broadcast, right?
Open broadcast, yeah.
Yes. So the kingdom got demolished quite a long time ago. And
Kingdom
now,
sucked.
Yes, but it was still there. I mean, it was still iconic for, until the roof started falling in on fans.
The only thing I miss about the Kingdom is the SS Mariner. Probably Woods is the only other person that knows what that is.
Is that like one of them rides at the entrance where you put in like 50 cents and it rocks you back and forth?
No, out in the outfield, they had, when the Mariners would hit a home run, they had a boat that would rise up above the fence so you could see it, and then it would fire a cannon.
Well, I'm pretty skeptical about that. According to my research, you can't own a cannon.
Yep. I'm pretty sure cannons are banned to be owned in the United States.
Plus, you need more than a cannon if you're going to fight the government. I'm just saying, but
yeah, you need F-16s or whatever.
I don't know. Is that a thing where when you hit a home run or whatever that they do stuff, or is that unique?
Nah, most places they'll do something. Now they have fireworks because it's
Fireworks. Those should be illegal too.
Yeah, they kind of are around here.
What if everyone politely acknowledges that the home run happened, and that could be the spectacle?
A golf clap.
It's a nice standing golf clap, like, oh, good show.
Polite acknowledgement, yes. Quiet, polite acknowledgement.
Very good, sir. You are allowed to go home. You have excelled at sports.
So, David Walcott says, unless it is a black powder cannon, I believe.
As long as it doesn't use a self-contained cartridge. That's in the law.
So, all cannons are black powder. Even the cartridge ones were still black powder. Some of them you had a big round container that you pack down in there, and then you put your projectile in and ignited it off. Some you just had to pour bags of black powder, and then some had an actual cartridge that was still filled with black powder.
My buddy's got one of those little mini cannons you can shoot a little ball bearing or whatever else you like stuffing in there.
Yeah, those are my favorite. I got quite a few of them.
So that's my buddy always likes it if someone says something about owning a cannon. He's like, I own a cannon. I mean, he's not wrong. It's not a big one, but he owns a cannon. And he just bought it. He just bought it and took it home from the store.
So, Woods even says, monster trucks in the Kingdom. Yeah, that was pretty damn loud.
I've been to Monster Jam a couple times over in Oakland. They do it in the Coliseum.
Yeah, but that's still an open top. This was a dome. So you were completely enclosed.
What about the fumes and stuff? We vent on it.
The spectators vented it.
Yeah.
They
Your
were the
lungs.
filter.
Your lungs filtered all that fumes and stuff.
So is it better to be on the bottom or at the top?
At the bottom because of, smoke and heat rises.
Oh, when you get up in the upper part, it was kind of scary because the stairway was very steep and concrete.
Yeah.
I CO2 was heavier than like regular air. So wouldn't it all sink back down? I could be wrong about that, but I thought it was.
It is heavier than air.
Yeah. So it might go up a little bit when they're jumping around or whatever, but then it's going to settle back down. So everyone in the lower bowl is going to be huffing it. But I mean, obviously it must have enough ventilation that like people aren't passing out and stuff. They've been doing Monster Jam forever.
Yeah, they had fans and AC and stuff like that.
Yeah, because aren't those domes held up by just basically like air blowing up on them? I remember there was a thing in Detroit at the Silver Dome where like it started caving in because like one of their fans broke or something. And it's literally
that's a different
like shoot air at it.
That's a different kind of dome.
Oh.
Those have canvas roofs, so it uses the air pressure to keep it up. The Kingdom was concrete.
Just a giant building. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not up to speed on Kingdom statistics.
Well, the Kingdom, was demolished in 98?
I don't remember.
So, Stillinia is out in the crowd. He has a great channel. I met him over on Georgia Trapping and Fishing. And so, yeah.
2000. It was demolished in 2000.
Yeah.
I heard that Smeggy has a good channel too.
Yeah, Smeggy does have a okay channel.
See, man, he doesn't post that often, and you never know it because it's random when he goes live. No
Right?
notice.
Especially
What
when
a
he goes random live and quirks somebody on a Saturday.
I can't imagine ever doing that. Have I done that before? I probably have.
Yeah.
I literally just go live when I'm bored. And if I quirk someone, it's because I just didn't happen to see their video. Because if I was bored, I would just watch their video instead of doing my own thing.
That's right. We got quirked by MK doors.
There's a couple.
I do like that that's still a thing, quirking people. Like, I think most people even know what it is, don't even know like where it came from. So that's kind of cool that it lives on.
You know, if somebody was watching a show that happens daily or nightly, jeez, I wonder what that show could be called.
Oh, wait, is it about guns? Like daily, like talking about guns daily?
I think so.
That kind of show?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That'd be pretty cool, especially if like each day was like a little bit different. Like one of them was like an interview with some kind of 2A person, and maybe one was like a game show kind of thing, and one was about like gun stores or museums or traveling, stuff like that. That'd be pretty neat.
What are you talking about? The Yankee Marshal?
I'm thinking of. Yep.
No.
Maybe one that like I used to be a co-host of back in the day with like Dano and Biker Bob, and I forget the other guy. There was this other dude who like hosted all the time. I forget what his name was.
Quark?
No, he was the dude that would always, put a show on while we were doing that show. Yeah, I forget the other guy. He must not be into Second Amendment anymore. I haven't seen him around.
Yeah.
But yeah, Daily Gun Show is pretty cool with G-Webs.
Yep.
In case people don't pick up on our sarcasm.
He did an amazing Ask Gun Questions show right before this one. And then last night, you got to learn the history and actually see Quark if you paid attention.
See, I fell asleep early last night. I didn't see it.
Oh, and you call yourself 2A. No.
Well, and I missed every second matters. Like I feel like a chump. But it is what it is. I was out doing stuff, and then I got home and I was tired and I went to sleep. I think I was up for like an hour when I got home, and then I was done.
I was on the road when Every Second Matters happened, the show, and I did have a firearm on me.
I just had a conversation with my girl earlier. She was talking about like this one girl that she works with. Literally, like someone just got shot outside of her apartment like last week, and so she was asking everyone at work, like, "Oh, what do you guys think about guns?" I mean, I think she's maybe getting a little scared and wants to protect herself. To which I told my girl, was like, "Hey, if she has any questions, you can have her ask me. Like, I don't care. I'll talk her ear off. Like, I love helping people." But anyway, so they were talking around at work, and this one dude was like, "Yeah, man, I'm all for guns. I just wish there was some kind of background check or something." Like he literally was like speaking anti-gun points, but he also was like, "I think people should be allowed to protect themselves." So like he's a good guy. He just doesn't have the right knowledge, And that's one of the things I hear a lot with like anti-gun people. A lot of the stuff they're asking for, like that's already what the law says. Like if someone's like, "Yeah, it shouldn't be easier than library books. Like you should have to do some kind of background check." You do. Like we all know this, but they don't. So it's just really weird hearing. Obviously, she's just relaying what he said, so maybe it was off a little bit or whatever. But like, I'm like, man, I wish I was there. Like I was cool with that guy because he seems like a good person. Like he believes in self-defense. He just is off on his back. He believes the anti-gunners at the same time, which is weird.
Well, that's because you don't really hear a lot of pro 2A stuff, especially in the news. The news is never going to really be pro 2A. It's not the agenda that they're pushing. So I want to say have a great night, Mrs. Hotshot, and I can't wait to see the video of you beating Gene in the USPSA tomorrow. So, but yeah, and I think a lot of people that may not have been pro 2A or pro firearm really learned a lot of valid information when they went to go get firearms in 2020, because they realized that what was going on, and when they realized that all these cities were, we got to defund, the police, we got to, all this stuff. And they're like, wait a minute, if we're not going to have law enforcement, who's going to protect me? So then they decided that they were going to go get a firearm. And when they went in and, hey, yeah, you can have this firearm, but you're going to have to wait 10 days. And they're like, what? They kind of found out that it wasn't as easy as just going and getting a library card and I can walk out. I actually have to submit all this information. Then I got to wait for the background check to come back, and then the 10-day calendar starts. So if that background check takes 14 days to come back, you're still waiting another 10 days on top of that 14. It's not that those 14 days counted as your 10-day waiting period. So some of those people were waiting like 30, 40 days to get that firearm.
Well, hopefully that was used as a learning experience. And then maybe they can help put some pressure on politicians to change that.
I kind of think that's what really influenced, what was it, 922 or 912 in California, which is why it didn't pass yesterday.
Yeah, well, from what I hear, it's partly, I just saw this article. I didn't really read into it and look up exactly. But I guess basically they needed like the supermajority or whatever because they were trying to have it be enacted this month or whatever. And if they would have tried for one that goes into effect December or January or whatever, then they only needed a simple majority and they would have had that. So part it's it failed because they were going for too much, which I think is, that's good that they were overconfident and then they kind of got slapped back a little bit, be like, no, dude, you don't have that many votes.
Well, what I heard was even if they would have gone for a simple majority, because people abstained from voting and just said, we're not going to vote on this, and this is their own party people. They didn't even have enough to have gotten the simple majority. But there was one or two that voted no and said, I'm not going to vote for something when I'm not even running, for re-election. I'm retiring, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, which that's kind of interesting that's it shows you they don't even really care. It's just they only vote that way because they think that's what they need to do to get reelected or whatever. So again, if we put pressure on it and make it be that, being pro-gun is what you need to be reelected, we could get a lot of people to change their votes. So I think most politicians, they probably don't care one way or the other. They just want to get which is going to give them the most votes. But anyways, I'm going to jump off. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You want to plug your channel before you get out of here?
That's all right. Check out my channel, Smuggy42.
It was great having you on, Smeggy. And
Yep.
I do believe Foss threw your link out a little earlier, so people can go and check you out.
That's cool. All right. See you guys. Thanks.
So, Georgia Trapping and Fishing says we had the tractor pulls when the Omni Arena was still here, and you would get the worst headaches when you were in there. Well, yeah. I mean, anytime you're in, like, an arena or a dome facility, all that sound is going to echo. And then you're going to have, your exhaust is going to be hovering there. So it's not going to be the greatest. I better plug in before my computer dies. So, Mr. G-Webs, if you were going to rate your gun question live stream that you did today on a 1 to 10 scale, what would you say that today's was at?
Hold on, I've been running back and forth. What?
If you were going to rate your live stream today, your Ask Gun Questions, on a 1 to 10 scale, how would you rate it?
I'm not sure. I mean, because we had a good off-air discussion. It's a chunk of the reason I do that show is so that me and Clover and Tony can catch up on stuff. And the people that we know, right? We can keep an eye on some stuff that's going on, trying to coordinate some things. So that end of it today was pretty decent. As far as the show itself, I don't know if I'm trying to keep it at an hour or not, because I think as a useful show, it'd be better if we were kind of shorter answers and did it in an hour and went through a bunch of questions. But I don't think any of us are doing it like a job. So it's hard to say. I mean, it was a fun one today. Trying to remember the questions that came up. There were kind of a group of questions from specific shows and then some just random questions. So I don't know if there was anything that I was like, that's a great question, but nothing was like useless. We had a way to talk about them. So I don't know. And then judging it against all the other shows, I don't know, giving it a 7 or 8 maybe. Maybe an 8 or 9. I don't know.
I think, 8 or 9. I mean, you had good questions, great answers from all three of you, and you had good audience participation.
Yeah, that's a good point. And we were able to get to some real questions that people asked right then. And they were, not necessarily just all the same old question over and over again. So that's a good point. And I was just saying that, like, by itself, like compared to what a perfect show would be, is different than compared to what shows we've already done and what we do. So yeah, I'd say more of like top 10 for sure, maybe top 5. It was a good one.
So have a great evening, David Wilcott, and thank you for all your questions. So yeah, are you back, Mr. Foss?
Yeah.
So I saw when you were in the Ask Gun Questions at the very end, you hinted that there may be a show tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of felt like doing one. So do one tomorrow night.
No.
That's what we call in the business a legally binding verbal contract with the viewers. You're welcome.
Now, are we talking that there's going to be a topic?
Well, it'll just be a just kind of fun one. Probably do. There's a poll on my community tab. I'll grab a link from my community tab here. For we were going to do a bracket, a gun bracket. And choices were milsurp guns, movie guns, sci-fi guns, Wild West guns, or mouse guns, / pocket guns.
Sounds like something that people need to vote on.
There we go. There's a
So-
link.
Welcome, Mr. Boxcar Jerry, another channel that I met over on Georgia Trapping and Fishing. If you guys are interested in trains, real trains or model trains, definitely go check out Boxcar Jerry's channel. And he has a great live stream that he puts on where he's talking. So, and Voss just threw the link out so you can vote on his poll. So it is in the crowd. I'm going to check the poll that I had going. Give it a minute to decide all the numbers. And the question was, will 80% frames and receivers return as they were before the AFT change? 37% of people say yes. 26 people say no. 12% say hell no. And tied with no is come on, man. And we've been letting that poll go for the last about 3 hours. So we are.
So we're seeing.
What was that?
Oh, I was just going to comment on the concept. So I think that those are rules, and that's dictated by the head of the executive branch, and and those kind of those attitudes and actions are dictated by the will of the trend or whatever the polls that are out there, to the pulse of the constituents. And since what they're doing now is playing on people's ignorance and pushing against a bunch of people who have a different opinion about all this stuff, that obviously we all know. But I think that all it takes is some of the people that have been retiring out of military, people that have been affected by some of the stuff that's been going on in the last few years, and they go into business, they get into the industries, and then again they're affected by the last few years. That's the kind of stew, or that's the kind of stuff that creates a wave of politicians with a different ambition, right, with different goals. And I think just the same way that we are complaining about the situation now is a result of people who feel like they have a monopoly on the use of that system, and then they're abusing it, when all it really takes, because the system is adaptable, all it takes is a generation or a group of people to come through and resist the initial bureaucracy, stagnation, or whatever the stuff that's causing the trouble now, and to use some of the institutional stuff the way it's supposed to be used to solve some issues that it's actually useful for. And that creates a whole new attitude towards it, and a different sort of like investors and the economy and everything uses that as a pulse or an indicator. So I think that as pessimistic as people are, I don't think they're paying attention to the factor of all these people that came through the global war on terror, have literal hands-on, boots on the ground experience in other countries, not just the Middle East. We have people everywhere, and all of those people serve for a while and understand the bureaucracy and the inside, the institutional nature of all this stuff, not just to experience it, but know how to work with it, right? And know how it works, know it. And when they're dissatisfied with their representatives, you see change. And I think the people we have today were unsatisfied with the representatives back in the day that were probably a bunch of military people from World War II. Nobody really pays attention to that. But they came in because of the change in kind of people's what they wanted out of leaders or representatives. And I think we're going to see that again. And once we see that, we see I'm going to repeat myself, but I think we see a way more interesting future than what a lot of people have in mind. Because all it takes is the United States start leading the way again, and then all the other countries get on our side, and everybody's happy again, and we have people looking towards space and feeding people and things that are useful instead of being pessimistic and worrying about dumb things that they're kind of being forced to worry about right now.
Yeah, and I think he accidentally hit the wrong button again. Hopefully. And yeah, I really do see right now that you kind of see the tides turning, and people are really starting to go, wait a minute. If they're going to start infringing on this right, when are they going to start infringing on other rights? And so people are starting to kind of worry that it could be something that affects them if it's not already affecting them now, or it's already affecting somebody that they care about. And so it's starting to catch more people's attention. And the more and more I think that a lot of us are talking about, like, this third party option, a lot of, I start hearing a lot more 2A people or firearm channels talking about how they're constitutionalists, and so they focus on the actual written Constitution, not what's the flavor of the Kool-Aid that everyone might be drinking. So I see we got LBJ out in the crowd. Welcome. You have any thoughts on this, Mr. Foss?
I do not have anything to add at this moment, sir.
Well, I know we've... go ahead.
Well, it seems like half the vote was for yes, it'll go back, and then technically, I guess half of it was like, no, it's not going to go back, that it's going to stay like this, I think. Is that supposed to be what that means by no?
Yeah, like we wouldn't get the 80% back the way they used to be, where you could,
But I mean, I'm assuming that means it means it stays the same as it is now, like it just stays in place. I just don't see, it staying in place more than however long it takes, for somebody to run with removing that.
And the thing is it's already in the courts, and it's already been delivered a partial win. One company has gotten a partial injunction on it, and so they granted that, saying that this company and the FPC and people are more likely than not going to win the case. That's why they're granting the injunctive relief. So that kind of gives you the belief that at least they're going to win at the lower court level. And we know that, of course, the ATF isn't going to take that loss. Now, will they try to take it to the Supreme Court? I don't know, because that's where I'm kind of torn about it. Is if they take it to the Supreme Court, they're going to get their asses handed to them, just like the EPA got their asses handed to them based on Chevron doctrine, and they'll lose based on the Bruin decision.
They call it the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association decision. I just like to use the opportunity to highlight the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association, who brought the case, not the prosecutor who lost the case, right?
Yeah, both ways.
I mean, most people are saying it the other way. I'm just making that my campaign to start calling it the New York State win instead of the Bruin loss. But I hear you. I think that's a indicator of the fight or whatever. But I guess what I was trying to explain is that in the long term, in the bigger picture, with this, the fact that they're fighting 80%ers is weird because they included it. But I was really thinking braces also. So when you talk about pistol braces and all of that, just crazy non-logical stuff that they're doing, and then at the same time doing all this, I don't think that the consequences are just that we fight it and it goes away. I think the consequences are people get hardened to this stuff and they get pissed, and it becomes a thing that like a thorn in their side, and they run on this. Like they go get office and run to remove this stuff. And I don't think if it gets people that motivated, if I'm right, they're going to stop with just saying, give us back our permissions and infringements that we had a minute ago. But I think it's going to be more like, now, by the time you remove all this stuff that's in place now, it's the way you accomplish that is through education. We barely, like the California stuff you guys were talking about earlier when I first got in, I think, that only happened by 2 votes. It wasn't like California's been re-educated to awareness of firearms aren't the problem, and they're voting in mass for the representatives to leave us alone. Like, that's just still partisan bickering. So I think that we're going to see accomplishments in awareness and education where just people are gun owners, and enough gun owners talk to each other. And I mean, there are other people that they know, and we'll just see kind of a lack of interest in pursuing gun stuff. I mean, it hasn't been successful. It never was a thing that wanted to be championed. Biden's just doing it because he thinks it's a good distraction, and he thought he had a chance, and he doesn't think he has anything to lose. It's just it's the good gamble for him. But since it's losing so much, and since nobody's really even petitioning for it if they're not getting paid to, I think that the results of this kind of stuff, no matter how it actually comes down with 80% or pistol braces, is that the next wave of politicians is going to remove all this stuff. And I think the NFA could be one of those things they remove, because we've got a bunch of old people who are going to want AOWs, just little interesting things that can defend themselves from somebody trying to take them, their life or their drugs or something. And then suppressors, there's no need for them to be on NFA. Short barrel rifles, come on. Short barrel shotguns, come on. And then full auto. All we have to do is show people how fun it is to have full auto competitions and recreational shooting like Vegas and like the Top Shot type of competitions. And NFA is gone. Like we're close to winning the guns are normal thing. And I guess, I'm just going off at the end of a show like this, but I really think that that's the kind of stuff that could happen from the way that they're attempting this right now. Like they're going against the grain and they're going all out, and they think there's no consequences. I think the consequences of this could be removal of the NFA.
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
One case, but from 5 or 6 cases, and then a couple of politicians that are like, the same way we got a Pelosi and we got a what's-her-face that hate guns.
Mm-hmm.
What's stopping us from having a couple of politicians that are like, I hate the NFA and I'm going to do everything to get rid of the NFA. I'm going to do nothing but cause, things to nibble away at the NFA and add NFA removal pieces to bills. You know what I mean? Like, we could be doing the same thing to them, and we're getting to where we're forging those people on the situations today. Forge those kind of people, I think.
Yeah, and 2 years ago, just 2 years ago, you didn't hear a whole lot of people blatantly talking about removing the NFA. Yeah, there were still people that would talk about it, but it wasn't like so blatantly like we have to do this in the next 3 to 5 years. I mean, that seems like what a lot of people are calling for a timeline is. We have to get the NFA gone in like 3 to 5 years. I would love to see something like that.
I mean, they're kind of weaponizing it. I haven't really paid that much attention because I've just been busy. But with this new thing with the braces, and you got to send in all this, and now it's it's a NFA item and all this garbage. That's a heck of a lot of people that didn't want to deal with any of this, or didn't know there was this stuff to deal with. If you just went into a store and bought a AR pistol with a SIG brace or whatever kind of brace, unless you asked a bunch of questions, they're not going to tell you the whole history of all that. They're just going to be like, thanks for your purchase, goodbye. They don't know if you care about the history of it or need to know it, right? It wasn't a part of your purchase. So there's a whole bunch of people that don't know the history of how that AR-15 or AK pistol with a brace got on the shelf. Maybe somebody goes, remember, you're not supposed to swap this with a stock, but I'm sure that's not even really spoken because there's no need. It's just not an issue. Because you can shoulder it, nobody cares. So that's a lot of people, I guess, and there's however many millions of people in that boat. Some of or a majority of those people, I bet you, are just going to be like, wait, what now? You want me to register this thing? Like if I'm some kind of criminal and like somehow all of us registering this is going to stop a crazy person from doing crazy things? Like what? And at the same time, there's so many more gun owners that understand what that even is. Like, wait a minute, you're making them register for a purchase that I can see on the store is no different than my purchase. Like, I'm just thinking we've got, not just the theoretical discussion of the removal of the NFA, but like real steps. I'm not saying it's a given, but I think what you're saying, same thing. Like it's closer than it's ever been with more people interested in it from different angles.
Yeah, and they're pretty much like forcing it because.
You mean like the ATF and the way they're doing it? Yeah, like because they're harping on it, like they're rubbing salt in the wound, right? Like they're causing more than just like a leave me alone. Like now you want to leave me alone and now let's fight. Like you're pissing me off.
Yeah, they're kind of giving you the choice of either I've got to stand up and fight, or I've got to lose what potentially could be used to save my life. And you start backing people into the corner, just like you backing an animal into the corner. They're going to fight, they're going to stand back and fight. And then you've got, the GOA, the NRA, the SPF, you've got the SAF, all these different organizations that are saying, hey, let's go ahead. And they're being a lot more vocal on saying, let's just go out and, fight the NFA. Let's go and try to take this apart piece by piece, and they're talking about how they can go about and dismantle it. So, like you said, I think we're at the point that it's a lot closer than probably any of us ever thought it would be. To be able to possibly see fully automatic firearms in your LGS.
I'm trying to look at it from generational or like different angles, right? I got a drone now, so I like to think of things from like the above the ground view a lot. So you got a bunch of people that since 34, they either were born since 34, they've been gun owners since 34, so they just don't think about machine guns and all that. And then you got a bunch of people, like a lot of us, that are from 68 on, where, we've lived our whole lives with all the stuff from the 1968 also. And then you've got a bunch of people that have lived with even worse stuff than that, even in various states. And it's just a whole different. That's a lot of different people that are comfortable or not with the laws, right? So you got that group of people that the oldest group, and they probably were the ones that needed the most convincing about concealed carry. And then you've got, once they understood concealed carry and had some time on the clock to see that concealed carry doesn't actually cause violence or enable violence or anything like that. In fact, it probably started to result in the loss of, or the reduction in violence, right? Criminals knew there was lethal consequence for their actions, so they quit being that kind of criminal. Or they'd go to places where there was no possible lethal consequence for their action, where they could literally just be a bully with a big stick. So, and then you get constitutional carry being like the layer on top of that. So those kids that have only ever lived with, some kids, I don't know when the CCW started, but the same way we talk about some kids have always lived with a smartphone. And that's weird for people that have grown up with phones that were attached to walls and cordless phones and everything else. Some people have only lived with constitutional or with concealed carry. Like, they don't know a world without concealed carry, and they know that half the states have constitutional carry. Why would they not be thirsty for the removal of the NFA in a different way than somebody who grew up with the NFA and the GCA and has, just barely witnessed a bunch of stuff slowly happen? You know what I mean? But I just think there's a different appetite and a different thirst in these different groups. Or I don't know if it's necessarily generational, because it might just be when you buy a gun. Because I know that old people I know could care less about half of everything. You know what I mean? They could care less if you took their car from them or if you made a big tax on, because they're just old and they don't care anymore, or they just don't have that much interest. But then, young kids have that passion. So they have an interest because they haven't been able to try things and they want to have potential. Right?
So, at the last company I worked for, I worked with some kids that were, 20 to 25 years old. And as they were learning more and more and getting to have conversations and stuff, and they would always ask, why do we have to have all these stupid laws? And I'm like, well, we don't have to if we fight to change it. And that's what we have to do. And you start seeing a lot more of them when they hear, or they're growing up playing the video games, and hey, I can have a full auto video game, but I can't have that in real life. That's stupid. So I think some of that is wearing off onto, let's figure out how, and they're trying to go about it in a different way, or even they don't, like we've discussed before, they're so thirsty, they're so hungry that they're coming in and just wailing on this. And right now, in the last 5-10 years, we're starting to actually see victories, and some major victories. And in the last couple of years, they've become more and more. And it's not like we're going to take the NFA away in one big blow. I think we all understand that it's going to be a death by 1,000 cuts. And so, as we're winning, we're still going to get setbacks. But we have to stay hungry. We got to stay fighting and be willing to every once in a while get cut and, realize, this cut hurts, but we're going to get it back, and we're going to keep growing. We're going to keep getting more and more as we affect change, like you're saying. You think, Foss, that you're going to see the day when machine guns will be offered in Washington?
Honestly, don't know. I think we are closer, but don't know. I yield my time.
Do you know why that they put the battleships and aircraft carriers in anime in space like that?
No.
Those are cool.
Do you know why? Fast salami. Do you know why?
Probably it was easier than creating their own.
I mean, I guess I don't know because I didn't talk to the first anime or whatever. But I seen a thing that was real about the Germans when they were experimenting with how to make spaceships. When they were figuring out how to make rockets and stuff, they were like, "How do we make a spaceship?" It was easier to take a submarine, which they already had, and shoot it into space because they would have the pressurized and the oxygen and everything, so it would be underwater. And then I'm guessing that's where it comes from, like that. Those initial, before they started making things that actually went into space, got practical knowledge. Those kind of initial theoretical things were basically jamming a bunch of rockets on a submarine and winging it up into space, and then sailing it around up in space like a submarine. That's my theory.
Possible.
Because they hung out with the Germans, so I'm thinking maybe somebody saw some papers or something, or maybe they even tasked them like, "Hey, do you think you could turn one of your battleships into a spaceship?" I don't know how that went during the war. They kind of were separate, right? They were just like, "Hey, we all hate the same people. Let's be friends." It wasn't like they will do your bidding.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly
Neither.
because you never
Neither
hear.
is.
You hear that they were allied, but
They were just allied against everybody else. I don't think they were literally like,
I know
it'd be great.
when Germany was coming to its end, they sent a submarine with nuclear stuff, which I don't think made it to Japan. I think it got sunk on the way. Yeah, the real Matt Murdock brings up old sci-fi, so it might even go back farther to like the turn of the century sci-fi, where that's how the only way they can envision going into space was
Mhm.
with the submarine style technology.
Yeah, the vehicles they had at the time, right? They weren't going to
Yeah.
take a covered wagon into space. So on my other machine, I seen a thing. I don't know why it's shown it to me, but during World War II, there was pilots. I don't know. It just kind of reminds me because it's a similar thing made out of metal, I guess. There's these things for pilots where if you got a pilot shot down over the water, they could swim to this thing, and it would kind of look like a submarine, the way a submarine sticks out of the water, with that tower type of thing sticking out of the water. But it was basically just a big room made out of steel, and then it had like a bunch of food and water in there, so they could they would swim to it, put up a flag, and then patrols would come by and pick them up every once in a while, so that way a pilot wouldn't just be hanging out in the water freezing to death.
Oh, yeah, I've never seen one of those.
So like a buoy that people could sit in?
Yeah, that's what they call like a rescue buoy. That's what it looked like, I guess. I'd never heard of them, and something about it made me think of that. Something about what we're talking about.
Well, so do we have other topics we want to discuss, or do we want to bail out?
Smith & Wesson making an all-metal version of their other gun, selling out. going backwards? What's the deal?
That did pique my interest, actually. I mean, when I saw an ad for it, it's like, oh wait, what's this? I've got the 380 M&P, but I don't know. That does sound more appealing. I probably won't ever get one, but
What was the Smith & Wesson version of P3AT? Bodyguard? I don't remember, but a long time ago they made a little tiny 380. I don't know if they make a smaller one, but whatever the smallest Smith & Wesson 380 is, I'd like to see that at aluminum.
Ooh, so P&W Woods has a good question. He says, are the younger people more political because they think they can change? Things can change? When I was 18 to 25, I didn't think laws could change ever. And
I have an answer for that one.
go for it.
I think that there's cycles, I think is the way you say it. So I think that when you have a generation of folks that take it for granted or just kind of coast, and then you get any kind of stress or any kind of frustration, the next gen has the potential or maybe even the inclination to be all offended and want to do something about it. And I think that's what we potentially have coming up is a population that's young. There are direct coaches and inspirational people that are teaching them what to do, have seen what's going on and given them real life experience, as opposed to a bunch of us that just kind of coasted through the 90s. Nothing really happened in the 90s, so we didn't get a bunch of hands-on experience for the most part. We didn't live through a bunch of weird stuff. So now that people live through that weird stuff, the kids that are coming out of that are going to feel emboldened and kind of championed in a different way, offended in a whole new way. And that's what we saw in the 60s, right? Like the kids of the generation from World War II kind of had some time to cook and like get offended and get all worried about everything. And that's what we're living with is the consequences of that generation becoming representatives and coming up with weird ideas in politics. So that's why I guess that's one way of saying that's why I'm optimistic that, yeah, answer his question. Yeah.
I think yes, kind of what you're saying, but also
I think yes, they can change laws because they think they can be activists. They feel like they need to be like everybody else who's just sitting around. So yeah, sorry.
I agree with you on most of that, but also as we were younger, we didn't have all this technology that they have.
No, you're right. Yeah, we didn't know you could do stuff. We now in hindsight, we could have done all kinds of stuff. We didn't know that though. Now they know what they could be doing, and yeah, it's happening in front of them.
Yeah, and like, you had 3 channels, pretty much for TV for a lot of us, and then the cable TV came about, and now you got 10 channels, and you can change them with a remote. You don't actually have to get up there and turn the dial, and then we came into the internet and stuff, and we lived through dial-up. But these kids have grown up with having internet that's like just lightning fast. They can find stuff. They grew up with cell phones, computers that were 1,000 times better than anything we had as a kid. And this is what they grow up with. So they have, news 24/7. They have all this information just right there at, a flick of a finger, or just using their voice and asking Google or Siri or Alexa or whatever, and getting answers. And so not only are they seeing what was going on with their parents and stuff, and they hearing all this stuff, they're seeing a lot more changing of stuff. And so I think if like in the last 20, 30 years, a lot more politics have become like mainstream. Back when I was a kid and stuff, a lot of your parents would be like, we don't want politics, we don't want to talk politics. It's, divisive and blah, blah, blah. And so, you hardly ever talked politics, and stuff like that. But now it's discussed all the time.
And people would get their politics from I listen to my banker, or I listen to my people at work, or I listen to my dad, or they would get their politics from a person, and they would default the decisions a lot of times back in the day. Whenever it's time to vote, we ask this person. I guess maybe some people listen to radio or newspaper or something too. But now you can make up your own mind. You can watch a bunch of stuff. You can listen to so many more people's opinions.
You can Google and find out what their voting record's been like, or pretty much find out what kind of a person they've been.
And think about on the other side of it, what that's going to be for the politicians. The people who run are going to be able to be satisfied that they were decent. People are going to be able to be confident that the people they vote for are decent, because it's going to be very difficult to be fake. Where before it was super easy to be fake. Up until now, it's been super easy to be fake. Unless National Enquirer got pictures of you on a boat, you know what I mean? You could just say whatever you wanted to say about your whatever.
Yeah. There was a lot more skeletons in closets that stayed in there. Now, your skeletons are on your sleeve, so people can easily find out what they want to find out.
Back in the day, a politician would be going along just fine, and then the National Enquirer picture or something would show them shooting a 9mm, and then they'd be out of the race. And nowadays, you can just see right on their Instagram what caliber they're shooting.
Or they could pay the Enquirer to Photoshop that and make it as their opponent if they had enough money.
Well, there you go. I don't know if that gets done. Does that get done today? I don't think that gets done today. Photoshopping calibers or manufacturers into pictures. I don't think that happened.
But I think we're going to call it here pretty quick. Mr. G. Webb, do you have anything you want to plug? Any shows upcoming? Interviews? Anything like that?
Thanks. 5 minutes, 49 seconds from now, the Great Start Shooting School starts suicide prevention Saturday. It's pretty decent opportunity to get a consistent set of resources to have more effective communication with people on both sides of the fence about ending actual gun deaths, right? Since most of them, a great majority, are suicides, they're used against us. Plus, a lot of them are veterans, so it's to everybody's advantage to learn how to, one, mitigate the whole condition, right, to reduce suicides, but also how to be more effective at talking about it and bringing it up in conversations when our, joint goal is to remove deaths, period, and those from firearms specifically. Then we can work together with anybody on reducing suicides. So I think Brooke does a great thing every week. So definitely want to promote that. Thanks for going live and being so polite as to end before her show goes live. That's cool. A lot of people wouldn't have done that, and that's why we call it corking.
Yeah, and Brooke has a great show. She keeps it pretty short and sweet. A lot of great information, and she deals with a topic that not a whole lot of people want to deal with, which is awesome.
Yeah, she cuts through the BS and just makes it an approachable subject that's a useful subject. Like it's a necessary one and it's useful. We all know people that might be, in a time of stress, or know people that have to deal with others that are in a time of stress. Just being more aware of that kind of stuff makes us more competent, capable. Can I address something from Patriot? He's asking about the detent on the AK muzzle device. So an AK has a weird little threaded barrel, and then there's this like plunger, spring-loaded plunger detent thing that fits into a recess in the muzzle device, whatever it happens to be, the slant brake or anything else. There's a couple of different devices they put on the front. But Patriot, that's never going to be tight. Well, I mean, I disagree with some people. Some people would suggest that it's designed to be. I don't think by design or by manufacturer that it's supposed to be tight. And I think also by design, it's designed on a full auto gun. Most AKs are full auto. It's designed to heat up, and you've got different metals there, and you've got a threaded connection. So I believe that the muzzle was designed to be oversized slightly from the diameter of the barrel, so that there could be some swell without a lot of binding and cracking. And then also the same thing with the detent being a little bit sloppy. It's for contrast between like desert environments and winter environments, and then with winter and desert being shot full auto for a while, having that barrel just cook to prevent that thing from just being what's that called, like welded on effectively. I think it's designed to be a little bit loose. So some people, it would always drive them nuts because it can even make noise sometimes, but I really think it's by design. It also allows them to manufacture with a set of tolerances that makes it practical to be done in communism, with great quantities in communism.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to add much to that. I don't think they'll ever be 100% tight per se. I guess if you want it super tight, you could push that detent out, take it off, put some thread locker on, tighten it real tight, and then put the detent back in. I guess there'd be a possibility of doing that, but again, it's like G-Web was saying, is I don't believe it's actually designed to do that. It's for the heating and cooling of your barrels and stuff, so that they don't swell and weld shut, weld together. So, Mr. DM Foss, you have anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
I put out a link for gearwebsites.com. It's a place to get 2A related stickers, patches, t-shirts, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And you can support G23 on Patreon. There, I put a link in, I don't know, about an hour ago. So there's links out there.
Yep, and thank you, Foss, and thank you, G-Web.
So basically, if somebody wanted to buy G23 a cup of coffee, they could go over to Patreon, drop them $5, and then that's a way to say thank you for everything you provide, doing a long format show every Saturday afternoon for everybody to hang out in. And they could just do that, and it could come out of their credit card or whatever, just easily once a month.
Absolutely. So,
nice. That's pretty convenient. Thanks, Patreon.
I definitely want to thank everybody who's been on the panel in the side chat. Y'all are amazing. You rock. And hang out with DM Foss tomorrow night, 10:30 Pacific, and go vote in his poll on his community tab. So we force him into like 4 topics, and play the outro, and we'll be out of here. And thank you, PA Reloader, for reminding me. Have a great and safe Labor Day, guys. And enjoy.